Hey, LeGrand Live, this is Brent Clapp, and I'm glad that you're here with us today. I want to give a shout out to our sponsors, Northwest Furniture and Mattress, Grand Ron Hospital, anythingtodigital.com, Eoni, and Les Schwab Tire. And today I'm here with Steven Berley. Steven, glad you're here. And
Thank
Steve
you.
or Steven?
Steven.
Steven. And Steven has a CPA firm here in town, and he's looking for customers. He does some advertising in the area, and it's glad that you're here with us today. And today we're going to talk about the new tax law and what kind of an impact that might have on us as individuals or as small businesses. So why don't, and I had told you before we started rolling here that you got to dumb this down for us
Sure.
common people here, you know. And,
absolutely.
And so tell us, for those that might not understand, how are taxes even calculated to begin with, basically? And let's start there. And I suppose we all kind of know how personal taxes are, but how does a business tax work?
Yeah, so the concept all the way down from corporations, small businesses, individuals, is we have a tax rate times the amount of income that you make.
Okay.
And so that's kind of always been the premise. And there's a lot of other little small deductions and things to help get your taxes down. But it's as simple as a percentage times your income.
Okay. And in a business, your tax is based upon the profit that you make, correct?
Yes, the profit.
Okay. Okay. Or presuming that the profit is the income for the business owner, and so then you're taxed on that amount.
That's correct.
Okay. So how has the new tax law been? A lot of buzz about what was going on with the tax law and so on and so forth. So let's start with personal. How are the new tax laws going to affect us personally?
Well, personally, pretty much everybody's going to benefit from lower tax rates. Again, that percentage is going down. For most people in the LeGrand area, it's on the tax rate side is about 3%. So.
That it's lowering?
It's going down, yes.
Oh, okay. And so what has it been?
Well, generally on the average in LeGrand, it's just around a 15% tax rate.
Okay.
So we're going to drop it down to around 12% plus several other benefits.
Okay. So give me some of the other things that are happening that are benefiting us in that way.
One of the things that is really huge for families here in LeGrand is the child tax credit.
Okay.
That's $1,000 per child, and it's being doubled basically to $2,000 per child.
Wow.
So that's going to be a huge benefit too.
Okay. So, and then does it change your home mortgage interest, and has that been affected much?
Yeah, that's a little bit more one of the kind of moving pieces, and it'll be complicated a little bit for people to digest, but there are people that have benefited tremendously from having itemized deductions where you're deducting your mortgage interest, property taxes, your Oregon state income tax. That's changing, whereas the standard deduction for folks that don't have that is going to double. So most people are going to find that they're not itemizing their taxes any longer.
Okay. So it's going to be less complicated and easier to do? Is that a safe?
I guess it may be easier to do because we're also eliminating this personal exemption. So basically, standard deduction, itemized deductions, and personal exemptions. The personal exemption going away. So the idea is, yes, make it more simple with just a standard deduction that most people will use.
Okay.
But what will be a little bit complicated is that people have to get used to this new calculation, and like I said, for some it'll be fine, but for many the benefit may not be as good.
Okay. And so then with a small business, how does the new tax code affect a small business?
So small businesses, along with corporations, corporate tax rates went from 35% to 21%.
Wow.
So that's a huge reduction in the tax rate for corporations. I think it's really beneficial to our economy, and I think that it makes us much more competitive worldwide.
Okay.
So there's really a great benefit, and we're already seeing that in the community where Walmart said, hey, we're moving our minimum wage to $11 an hour.
Okay.
I mean, just 2 years ago, you saw signs at Walmart said we're hiring at $9.35 an hour. So that's a pretty big jump. U.S. Bank did the same. They came out and said our lowest paid employee will be $15 an hour.
Wow.
So that's big on the corporate side. Okay. On the small business side, of course, they had to provide some benefits as well. And that's where we're going to have something new and different. It's called a business income deduction. And that's where if you make profit, you actually get to reduce the profit by up to 20%. So for example, $50,000 of income, you would think you're going to be taxed at that, but actually, if you follow the rules that are going to be forthcoming, you'll be taxed at $40,000. So that's going to be a benefit that pretty much most businesses that make money will enjoy.
Huh. So it's almost like, so the same way that you have a child deduction with personal income tax, now there's a vehicle that where a business owner will have a deduction.
That's right. So no doubt that that's going to provide businesses a lot more incentive in town to, invest dollars as well.
So do you, a little rabbit trail, so then Walmart and the companies that are increasing wages, is there really a correlation? Is it just PR, or is there really a correlation between them paying less taxes and paying their employees more?
Yeah, I mean, I suspected that this benefit of a much lower tax rate was going to clearly allow for investment in the companies where they put more into their employees by hiring more of them. I think they started, which took me by a little bit surprised at how beneficial this may become quickly for all of us, is that they made these wage changes even before they started hiring more people. So to make them more competitive. So that is tremendous to see that already.
Okay. And so one thing that I realized when I moved to La Grande almost 20 years ago is that there's so much of our local economy that is small businesses like ours. Right. So, is that, I mean, I know you've already said that, but will that be a good benefit for us? Or, I mean, how will that affect La Grande? I guess that's the question. Yeah,
it's going to be quite a benefit from just, I've read the whole tax law. I've gone through it line by line.
How many pages is that?
It's 187 pages.
Wow.
And it has a whole lot of, in one paragraph, subparagraph of the paragraph times the other paragraph. But nevertheless, there clearly is. And so for a business that's, making $50,000, in general, I expect to see around $1,200 of benefit for those companies.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, it's not only for individuals, but businesses able to retain more dollars here in La Grande for us to, spend locally.
So, when we've heard on the news about it, high tax states not quite having the impact, Oregon is on that list also.
Yeah, sure is.
So tell us, do we still get the same benefit being in a high tax state?
Yeah, that's a little bit more complicated. I mean, for example, I have read where, they believe that 80-90% of Oregonians will benefit overall on this tax plan, and I agree with that. But we're going to see, again, as I mentioned earlier, this whole idea where people itemize deductions has been a benefit for most Oregonians, where that deduction flows to the state income tax return.
Oh, I see.
Well, that's going to kind of go away for most people where they use a standard deduction. If you use a standard deduction in Oregon, the amount you get to deduct isn't the 15,000, 20,000 of itemized deductions. It's much lower, a fraction, less than 5,000. So what happens is overall you get benefit, but the state of Oregon's going to get a little bit more benefit themselves. So you can call it a win-win. But there's states, especially like California, they think a lot of people may be negatively affected.
Okay. Well, anything else that you can think of so what are the bad sides of this, I guess?
Oh, I think the only bad side of it is it's just a change for people. They're not really sure. There's been a few myths out there, and that is the reason why I think we're speaking today, and why I'm having an upcoming seminar, is that there was myths being promulgated through the internet, Facebook, that we can't deduct business expenses anymore. I'm like, wow, if we can't deduct business expenses anymore, it will technically become the highest tax rate increase we've ever seen dramatically in history. So that's not the case. There are a couple of small little things that, let's say for instance, you take your employees out to lunch and you spend $50. You deducted that in the past. Well, first of all, you're probably not taking them out to lunch because you're going to get a $10 deduction.
Right.
That $10 deduction's going away. You can give your employee gift cards, the same thing, but everything else stays intact.
Yeah, I've often heard business owners, who have more money than I, and they'll say, "Oh, I can deduct it," and I always think about you're only deducting, even in a good time, you're only get a small portion, you know.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so that doesn't really work. But
Right.
so what about, I guess I'm remembering that they had said that it was going to potentially affect teachers in a negative way that are spending money out of their own pocket. Is that a possibility?
Well, they've always spent money out of their pocket, and they've enjoyed
Right.
it was a deduction of $250, and I believe it's going to be double to $500, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, so they're not losing a benefit.
Not that I've seen, that I read in that tax code.
Yeah, cool. All right, well, tell us about your seminar that you're doing.
Okay, so Wednesday, 6:30, I'm going to have a 1-hour seminar at the Blue Mountain Conference Center.
Okay.
And it's just going to kind of recap some of these ideas we're talking about. And just here we go, just a little deeper into a few concepts. But it's not going to sit here and rewrite the code and show you tax returns and do lots of calculations. Just kind of getting people aware, especially small business owners. There are rules around getting this up to 20% deduction that have been there for, say, an S Corp before, but it's affecting partnerships, sole proprietors, even folks with rental property. Okay. So you've got to pay attention to what's coming out. We're all kind of eagerly awaiting what those new IRS guidelines, rules, procedures, how they'll be interpreted from that new tax law and then get implemented.
So then, these tax laws are the laws that are going to be applied in this year, correct?
In this year. So for example, if you are a regular W-2 employee, you get a paycheck every week or two or month. The new tax withholding tables reflect that going, as I said earlier, from 15% to 12% basically. So in February, March, the worst case, all of a sudden people are going to see bumps in their paycheck. It'll be depending on your income, but anywhere from $25 to $150 a month, I just say, for example, coming into the paychecks, so it will start helping the local economy right away.
So, again, to make it simple, people are going to be taking more money home because the government is taking less money out in the front end.
That's right, less of the pie.
Yeah, cool. All right, and I know that you probably don't have have a problem with anybody stopping by your office and asking you more questions about this?
Oh, absolutely. I'm very interested in helping folks, especially the small businesses that need to understand, even what the tax benefits were already today, but going forward, really can make an impact on, how they think about their business, invest in their business, and some of the tactics they may use to hopefully grow.
Cool. So look at the camera and just tell them where your office is and give them a little pitch.
Okay. Well, my office is located at the SAC Annex, there on the ground floor, and I'd be glad for folks to come by and just say hello and get to know a little bit about the firm and what we might be able to do to help folks.
Great. And I know that one of the things that I had talked to you about that struck me is that you're skilled with QuickBooks. And yeah, so the whole, which for a small business is a fairly monumental thing to get.
Yeah, it sure is.
Yeah. So then if somebody gets QuickBooks, you can help train them and you can interface with their system and so on and so forth.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, if you notice, people don't like my new office setup, but I've put in some cubicles, and one of them is just a computer, just a generic computer. Well, we don't use it at the office, but I have clients who come in and they actually may work right there in the office on there for 30 minutes, an hour, as they're getting to learn QuickBooks, and then they have me to simply just, hey, Steve, can you answer a question for me? So that's been kind of fun. I enjoy doing that.
That's an awesome service. That really is.
Yeah.
And, when we started our business, that was a huge thing, just getting our head around that. And QuickBooks is still a mess, but it functions. So,
yeah, they're getting better, but
yeah,
I get it. It's a challenge for most.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Stephen.
Well, thank you.
Really appreciate you coming in and spending some time with us. And thank you, LeGrand Alive, for tuning in. And again, our sponsors, Northwest Furniture and Mattress, Grand Ron Hospital, anythingtodigital.com, EONI, and Les Schwab Tires. Thanks a lot and have a great day.